Hola mi gente bonita, bienvenidos a su podcast Historias de Oficina. Y el día de hoy tenemos un invitado muy especial, Sam Lakkundi. Sam es un visionario tecnológico de la India y actualmente reside en Estados Unidos. Por un tema de modalidad en la entrevista, vamos a hacer 4 preguntas en inglés y 4 preguntas en español. Toda la conversación la van a tener en ambos idiomas. Así que comenzamos. Thank you for joining us, Sam. Sam is the Executive Vice President of WW Channel, Marketzone, ISVs, and Innovation at BMC Software Company. He has worked for 5 years there. Many may be wondering, Mar, what is BMC Software? Well, BMC Software is an American technology company. It produces software and services that help businesses in their digital transformation. Sam is a big picture thinker who can go both deep and wide, specializing in the use of business and technology to make people and company more productive. Also, he holds 2 master's degrees, is currently pursuing a doctorate, and is fluent in 4 languages.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity, Mark. Right? Thank you for your time and everybody's time on the camera. So my passion for technology was born with the fact that the world is changing, right? When I started my school, right, I was in engineering, and in the engineering fact, we used that was almost 22 years ago, we started using computers. We were not doing things with pencil and paper. My passion for technology was born with the fact of how computers are changing the world even 20 years ago. Today, we live in a very different era. The era we live in is dominated by software and technology. In our daily lives, whether you are running a grocery store with a small business, or if you're running a multi-billion-dollar organization, technology, whether you drive a car or you clean your house with a robot, exists today. And that is happening now. And so my passion for technology started almost as a young child, continued on in my youth as a student, and today is at its height as an adult, where technology is the center point of everything that every human does.
Do you recall any specific moment that sparked your passion for technology?
Yeah, it's a great question, Mark, right? My passion for technology struck when I was a child, actually, in a hospital. And when I was in the hospital, even then, back then, we were looking at data, right, from, when I was having a surgery, and they were looking at the trends of my data as to what other 14-year-olds have and what they were doing, right? And taking a look at the history of my blood, taking a look at the history of my health. And that actually sparked my interest, saying, wow, they are using data to analyze my health. And you can only imagine what other technologies exist, whether I fly in an airplane, or I drive a car today, or my house is cleaned by a robot today, right? That sparked back then when I was a child, and it has continued today.
Wow, that sounds interesting. Thank you, Sam. Could you tell us, who are you? What do you do exactly? And why did you choose your career?
Yes. So my name is Sam Lakkundi. I'm originally from India, born in India, but namaste.
Namaste.
And my education has been in the United States. I came very young in the United States, and I continue to stay there. And but my passion for technology and actually was born very early. My father was a metallurgist or engineering in metallurgy, and he introduced me to technology early on in my career, right? But I was always fond of computers to begin with. But that passion turned into a reality when I came to the United States, when I saw the US was always ahead in a lot of the technologies than many other countries in the world, right? Naturally. So I got into technology early on in my career. And what has fascinated me is the fact that many of these technologies have really affected the way we as humans live, interact, right? Whether
Right.
you are doing, what we are doing right now with social interaction, or you are using the technology to better your life, right? I mean, as simple as sending a text or looking at your bank statement or purchasing online. These are things that are affected and change the way we live, or how I order Uber to go somewhere, or how I go into a foreign country and I don't need to know a hotel. I can live in somebody's house, right? These are things that have affected the world that we live in. The largest hotel in the world is not a Marriott or a Hilton, it's Airbnb. And the largest hotel business in the world has 0 hotels. The largest rental car company in the world doesn't have 0 cars. It's all run through technology. That is what drives passion, and that's what should be driving each one of you on this podcast, as to how the technology is changing the way we live and the way we behave and the way we will be working as we move forward in the next 10 years and the next decade.
The next question is, which emerging technologies do you consider would have the biggest impact in the next decade in Latin America?
Yes. So, great question, Mar, right? And I think, having the opportunity to travel extensively in South America, including your beautiful country, Peru, Brazil, Argentina, of course, Colombia, and Mexico and other countries, which are large and emerging countries like Ecuador, Bolivia, and so on. I think the technology that is going to affect the Latin countries specifically is about understanding and working on data. Data is the foundation, Mar, of many of the technologies that we talk about. I just talked a little bit about using Uber and using Airbnb. How do we understand the route to go to a specific place? How do you make sure, like when I look at my Uber app, it already knows my behavior. It knows who I am. It knows how I need to be addressed. The technologies that need to, in Latin America, that are emerging are 2 major ones. First is about financials, right? The banking industry. The banking industry in, like, your bank that you have here, just to give you an example, Interbank in Peru, right? It's a very big bank, very advanced in technology, but it is constantly changing with the open banking regulations, with all of the new technologies that are coming in the banking sector. Those affect the economy of the country, and that's something that affects each one of you, because you are using banks almost every day. Everyone on this podcast is using some kind of banking technology, right? Whether you're looking at your mobile application or you're sending a text, those are the technologies, Mar, that actually are changing rapidly in Latin America.
I agree, Sam. I consider it in the emerging technology is collaborate and focuses in the user. Is the better way to the expect the many person in the world, in specific in Latin America. Please tell me anecdote about how was your leadership impact your team.
Yeah, great question, Mar, right? So one of the great impacts that affects my team, and I think everybody is empathy. Empathy is such an important part of leadership and on life.
Yes.
If you don't empathize with the person on what is happening with them and put yourself in the shoes of that person, that you is either a colleague or a team member of yours, then that is the big disconnect I feel
Exactly.
in people's
Got it.
interactions. So for me, Mar, the biggest leadership that I can tell you that I've worked with my team on the anecdote is about empathy. And that is something that each one of us as humans or as a boss and an employee or a co-worker should have and should really be focused on.
Yes, it's the most important phrase, empathy. Yes, it's the great phrase. Thank you, Sam. Mi gente bonita, qué interesante todo lo que nos está contando Sam acerca de la empatía. Y quiero reforzar este aspecto tan relevante y lo que él nos comenta en español, porque ya vamos a comenzar las otras 4 preguntas en este idioma. Entonces, quiero decirles a todos ustedes y a todos los líderes, tanto equipos, líderes, conectar con tu equipo. ¿Para qué? Para que puedan tener ese espacio para contribuir hacia un objetivo en específico que tiene la compañía y que también tienen ustedes dentro de sus valores. Así que vamos a la siguiente pregunta. Mi gente bonita, si te está gustando este contenido con Sam Lakkundi, dale like a todo lo que estamos diciendo y suscríbete aquí debajo en el video. Sam, tell me 3 features that a technology leader must have.
The first that is extremely important. Necesitas que corazón es, ¿cómo se dice? Clear, ¿no? Es claro. Que necesita que
Honestidad.
honesty. The second is necesita que es muy amable, ¿no? Personas.
Very good.
Es importante que amable, cuando tu corazón es claro, entonces no hay problemas, ¿no? En tu vida. Y 3, necesito que hay que hablar en la, ¿cómo se dice? Truth, ¿no?
La verdad.
Always is the truth.
Sinceridad.
Sinceridad, ¿no? Necesito que siempre sinceridad. No hay problema que es malo o no, pero necesita que siempre es sinceridad. Entonces, para 3, una es más amable,
Honestidad.
honesty y
Sinceridad.
Es 3 más importante en cuando tú eres jefe o cuando tú eres otra persona, ¿no? Y en el trabajo en tecnología o otro también.
Exacto. Me gusta lo que dice Sam acerca del tema de la honestidad y acerca de la transparencia, ¿no? Porque finalmente, chicos, yo creo que es importante que más allá de los objetivos que podamos tener comerciales o los objetivos estratégicos que pueda tener la compañía como tal, lo más importante es conservar esa verdad, como dice Sam, esa transparencia, esa fluidez de comunicación con el equipo para trabajar en sintonía. Y es muchísimas gracias, Sam, por estas claves importantes y que todos los líderes deben tener en cuenta. The next question is, what is something that you don't like and would change in companies if you could?
I think that people are competitive sometimes. And I think the competitiveness in organizations form a culture which is not the most conducive to being productive. So the number one thing that I would change is don't think about being competitive. Think about the fact that this is something that I can learn from somebody else. That is being honest with yourself, not seeing them as they know more than me or I know more than them. The biggest thing that I would change is the people's perception that they feel that they're competing with another person. And that is something that I feel I would change.
Oh, great, great. This is important, and you said about the interesting focuses in the competition. No, it's really important because in the world, many companies different focuses, but is the competition is like to be positive, not negative, not in the world. If it focuses in the positive way, is important for me, and I agree. You say thank you, Sam. I really enjoyed this conversation, Sam.
So am I.
Are you ready for the next question?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. What do you consider to be your contribution to society thanks to your career?
The biggest contribution that I think I can provide to society, and I am doing, especially in your beautiful country, Peru, is working with my friend Ruben Piaca on a special project that is all about delivering knowledge. Knowledge is power. I always tell people, one day, somebody, if you have a lot of money, if you have a lot of physical things, one day somebody could take all that away. What always stays is what is here. What always stays, no matter where you go in the world, is what is in your head. So continue to learn knowledge. And what I do is I work with imparting what I know, because what I know is should not only be mine, because I feel that gives me additional strength. My strength is in imparting my knowledge to others. We are doing special projects in Peru, in Chimbote. We have Chimbotec. We have APSIS, which allows us to exchange technology. So it is about empowering knowledge to others, to you. The greatest gift you can give from one human to another is impart knowledge. Whether you are a technologist like I am, whether you're a contributor to podcasts like you are, or whether you're even a cook. If you're a cook, impart knowledge about what you know best. And that is something that I feel is the most powerful thing that I've been able to contribute to society, and I will continue to provide that till the very end that I can possibly live on and do. The one thing that you should know, knowledge is power. And if you have the power, then everything else comes naturally. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're rich, you're poor, you're a politician, or you're a CEO, or you are driving an Uber. You have to have the knowledge, and you have to ensure that you impart that knowledge to others. That's the biggest thing I can provide to society.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I want to question about you, Apratik. You said Apratik Chimbotet. What is your something about that this social project? Your contribution in this social project in Apratik and Chimbotek?
Yeah. So great question once again. Just for a little bit, for those of you who don't know much about APSIS or Chimbotek. Chimbote is, of course, the city or beautiful city in Peru, and we have taken the technology part and taken Chimbote and called it Chimbotec, right? Which allows us to deliver knowledge to the young and needy students, because naturally it's there are many poor parts around the world, but naturally in Peru we have many poor parts of the world. Wouldn't it be really great if we can actually take the technology part, deliver it to the young people, especially who don't know much about the technology, and able to actually do that? And that's really the project that the company that we have called as Chimbotec. And then there is also the ability for the part called as APSIS, which allows us to take technology and deliver technology to the young, right? And so naturally technology, as I mentioned to you, Mar, is changing heavily. What we are doing is ability to actually take that technology and provide it to others. And that's really, for us, it's nothing that we do for social benefit, or we're not looking to get rich from it. but this is our contribution.
Wow, that's amazing. I agree about you. You said the knowledge in your head, in every head in the many people is the power of you access to that everything things, and I consider is special, and mm, I consider it is important to the social contribution in Peru, especially, and you stay here and contribution with many persons in this project. In Chimbotech, Aprotic, take, take, take them information to technology and many situations um, in your real career in United States, and you here put in the many persons in my country. Thank you so much for your collaboration with many persons in here in Peru.
No, it's my utmost pleasure to do that. Like I always tell people that mi cuerpo es hindú, pero mi corazón siempre es aquí en Peru.
This has been extremely interesting. Finally, I would like to know, where do you see yourself in 3 years?
Yes, I completely agree with Mark. This has been super interesting. I feel proud to be in your country and to be talking to a person like yourself, right? Which gives me great pride. But where I see myself in 3 years is really, I feel that technology and humans will eventually morph into one. And what I mean by that is not that we will all be robots. What I mean is that we have to be aware that the most important thing, no matter what technology you're in, is the human element. Humans will always be here. They've been here for thousands of years, and they will always be here. It's how you, as you and me, are able to deliver and be part of giving to the society, giving and being part of giving to the other human race, and really be cognizant of other humans, and really say, what does that really do for me, as I work with other humans. And so for me, I see myself giving more to the society, right? As I grow older and I grow wiser, right? I feel that my contributions to society has not been as much as maybe somebody else who has contributed a lot to the society. And I feel that I should play my role in doing more contributions, whether it's departing knowledge or it's helping another human being, or to ensure that I understand what value I can drive. That is something that is important, Mark. And really, the job that you're doing these podcasts and educating the world, I think is an amazing job, right? That I couldn't do. And I feel that I can learn so much from you. I could learn so much from each one of you on this podcast. And I feel that I'm fortunate to talk to you, to talk to all of you here, and be part of this journey with all of you.
Quiero agradecerte, Sam, por toda la contribución que estás haciendo a nuestro país. Y antes, mi gente bonita, de cerrar este episodio de este podcast, quiero hacer una pregunta que también va a ser muy impactante. Y quiero preguntarte, Sam, ¿qué le dirías, que lo voy a decir en español, qué le dirías a todas las personas que quieren realizar cambios, transformaciones en la tecnología y que recién están empezando? ¿Qué le dirías al mundo, a todas esas personas?
Yo pensé que quieres que todas personas eres amable con puntos, ¿no? Pero esta es importante. Es importante que una corazón es más no complicado. Quiere que amable con todas personas. No importa que es rico, más pobre. Eso no importa. Importa que es corazón es seguro y clean, ¿se dice?
Transparencia.
Transparencia. Eso es más importante.
Sinceridad. Muchísimas gracias, Sam. Gracias por estar aquí, gracias por venir, gracias por seguir aportando a nuestro país. Esta es tu casa, Perú. Tú siempre vas a ser bienvenido aquí y estamos muy agradecidos todos los peruanos de todos los proyectos sociales que estás haciendo. Y todos, mi gente bonita, Sam en sus sueños va a estar en cada uno de sus corazones en diferentes lados del mundo. Así que yo sé que lo vas a lograr. Muchísimas gracias, Sam. Tengo una sorpresa para ti, Sam. Ay, qué bueno, qué emoción. Sorpresa del corazón, de nuestro país, de nuestra cultura, con mucho cariño. Este regalo es de parte de nuestro corazón, de nuestro país, de nuestra cultura y espero que te guste mucho.
Muchas gracias. También.
Que
lo haga, que lo haga. Yo sé.
Mira, es de lama, ¿no? En mi país es todos animales, es dioses.
Bahut Danyavan Sam. Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí.
Muchas gracias también. Dhanyavad. Recordar que siempre mi cuerpo es hindú, pero mi corazón siempre es peruano, ¿no? Aquí. Muchas gracias para todos.
Muchísimas gracias, Sam. Es un honor que estés aquí. Gracias por estar aquí. Nos vemos.